Good night, everyone. Tonight, God is good. God is good all the time. My name is Army Jail Spirits. Well, let me give you a word on tonight, and the title gonna be misunderstanding. We can have that a lot. Misunderstanding is we can avoid that if we can just communicate with someone. They're gonna come from Joshua 22, verse 10 through 20. Now, misunderstanding failure to understand someone correctly, lack of communication. So misunderstanding can erupt over little things. Sometimes it can cause a big confusion over little things, and big things. So when this happens, the best course of action is to open communicate, a lesson learned in a mused way by the people of Israel. And it's gonna be the Israelite. And when the other half of the Israelite, gonna come and try to build some, an altar on that thing, it's gonna be a big problem. But still them communicating, they're gonna be ready to go to war. And that's how our people are today. Instead of when they hear something, instead of them communicating, they're just ready to go to war. So and when they came to Galilee, near the Jordan in the land of Canaan, the Reubenites, the Canaanites, and the half tribes of Manasseh built an impostor altar there by the Jordan. So they went by the Jordan to build this altar there. So they asked the leader of the Israel over there. You know, both of the leaders did not ask no one because they built this altar over there. So they built the altar, as a reminder that the 2.5 tribes, across the Jordan are still part of God's people. They are part of God's people. They separate themselves, and still live in God's land. So they came and built an imposter altar there by the Jordan, but did not speak to the leader there to let them know that this would cause a problem of lack of communication. So and when the Israelite had heard, that they built this altar, so they is ready to go to war. So they learned that they built this altar on their side. So now when the Israelite heard, they should have set a meeting. So when you hear something, instead of you being angry at first, try to have a communication with the person. And see, you're never supposed to believe a person right off hand. You got to do your research. You got to talk. You got to communicate and ask why. So now when the Israelite had heard, they should have set a meeting, to the leaders, why y'all building this altar on our side. So when you don't communicate, it will be a misunderstanding. So the whole assembly of Israel gathered, together for war. So they ready to go to war. They ain't even ask no question or nothing. We just heard someone building someone on our side, and they ain't asking no question, just ready to go to war. So the leader of Israel traveled out to meet them, ready, to continue on the war against their own people. So the Israelites believed that if they can build this altar, remain, God would judge the whole nation. And see that they got angry because they built. They said they allowed them to keep on, build this altar. God would judge the whole nation. But still, them going to talk to them and ask why are you building this on our side. They come about a whole lot of problems. Whole lot of problems. So the leader of Israel is ready to go to war. And they ain't talk to the other leader. They're just ready to go to war. They have, that's how our people are today. We hear something, but instead of us communicating, both leaders, they're ready to go to war. And that's how it is today in this world. Instead of you communicating with someone, when you hear something, you're just ready to fight. Just ready to go to war. Lack of communication. And sometimes things can just be a misunderstanding. So with him, they sent 10 other chief men, one from each of the tribes of Israel, each um, each of the head of the family division among the Israelite chain. So now they is getting their men together. Don't even know nothing, just getting men together because they heard somebody build something on their side. So when they had went together, to Reuben and half of the tribe, they had said, and then they all camped, and that's how the Israelite is to separate themselves. That's just like with Esau family. All that's the Israelite. Esau is Jacob children. You know, Jacob children. Esau and Jacob, they brothers, twin brothers. So the whole assembly of the Lord has said, how could you break the faith with God? Israel like this. Now, how could you turn away from the Lord? So they're saying that's why they got angry because you cannot build another altar. But still, I'm going to talk to the leader, to find out exactly why they're doing it. Because they disowning the other Israelite and they all still God people because they all the Israelite. So if they had let this altar remain, they'll feel like they're breaking faith with God, the God of Israel. So they think, that he is rebelling by building this for himself. So they think he is rebelling from building this altar on their side. And they know it's like you breaking the law with God. So that's why they got so angry and like he can't remain this altar on their property. So was not the sin of the fear enough, for us, but up to this very day, we have not cleaned ourselves from that sin, even though a pledge fell on the community of the Lord. So they can't really build another altar on their land. It's like they were building against God. So since building the altar seemed designed, not for a single action of worship, and now turning away from the Lord. And if you rebel against the Lord today, tomorrow, now he will be angry with the whole community of Israel. And see, that's why they got so angry, because then they have to deal with God of having an altar built on their side. But they had broke the faith with God, and God is angry that they worship other gods. Not really angry about someone build an altar on there. He angry because they're worshiping other gods. And if they don't put it away, then he will punish the whole community of Israel. So if the land you possess is defiled, come over to the land, where the Lord tabernacle stand and share the land with us. But do not rebel against the law, and building an altar for yourself. So in building this altar, besides the altar of the Lord our God, which ought to be common to both and to others, to set against it. So they think God was pretty much mad about the other Israelite building an altar. That he pretty much was mad because they was serving and worshiping, other idols, and he told them they have to get rid of it. So misunderstanding, can erupt over little things, and big things. So when this happens, the best course of action is to openly or communicate a lesson learned in a music way by the people of Israel. So that was a lesson for the Israelite, and that was their own people, but they hated to go over there to have open communication with them. So the tribes of Reuben came, and the tribes built an altar near the Jordan. So all the other people of Israel heard of this and outraged, and they assumed that this is the new place of worship. So Most of them thought it was a new place to worship. You know, So a place of worship, and that the tribes on the east side of Jordan will no longer come to worship. So they are angry enough to go to war. So the leader from each side of the Jordan expressed their concern, about the end of the conversation. So the trials, so they finally had a conversation, and the whole time it was a misunderstanding. It was a misunderstanding, and that's what we all have to do. When we hear something, we need to have a communication with someone, not to jump to conclusion and ready to fight, ready to go to war. So memorial, the the way the why there was building to altar memorial of their unity. It is not. It is not an altar, but it is a reminder that the tribes of Israel ought to always stand together. And see, that's what I'm saying. God wasn't mad because they built an altar. He was mad because they were worshiping other gods. You know, this altar that was building, it was a unity to letting them know, okay, we is an Israelite, y'all is an Israelite, and we have to come together. And so that's why I just put the news about that we have to come together. We all are equal. And see, that's what they were saying. I'm an Israelite, you know, and so y'all the Israelite. We should come together and not, we should be in unity and not be separated. So that's what he was saying about that. And what it meant for peace also led to war, until the people communicate. So if we only communicate, we can avoid misunderstanding, and not be so quick to fight, go to war, tear one head and wigs off. So after they communicate, there was no war. And that was this shit that did in the first place. They gathered all their men together, getting angry, you know, telling him that you when you going against God, and all the while God wasn't mad about them building an altar on that. He was mad because they was worshiping other gods, you know, and he built an altar as a memorial day for a unity. Remember, we all came together out of Egypt. We all are Israelite. You know, they separate themselves. You got some of the Israelite over here. You got some of the Israelite over there talking about on this side. It's for all of them. God gave that land for all to Israelite, a promise to Abraham. So this was a lesson. This was a lesson of communication. So when you because a lot of time in this life, someone will tell you something about what someone said or what happened. Instead of we doing our research and communicate with someone, we'll just jump to conclusion and just ready to go to war. Stop talking to the person and rolling your eyes and all that. Instead of asking the person, you know, just ask the person a simple question. And that's all they had to do. That's all the leaders, both of the leaders had to do. The leaders all they had to do was just come together and ask the simple question of why are you building this on. And he would have told them, it's a memorial day in unity for all of us to come together. That we is all God people, and y'all separate. And I just put that news out today. The world is divided. And so that's what he's saying. This is a unity. We is all the Israelite and we are separated. You're over here, we over here. You saying we'll build something on y'all side, it's all our side. We are all God people. So if we only can communicate, we can avoid a lot of misunderstanding. And we can all try to get along. So stop jumping to be so quick to go to war. Uh, so that's all the word I have for you today. Tonight. So y'all have a blessed, safe night, and I see y'all on the next video.